Hi everyone, welcome back for another Live to Five. Good to see you again, Deri. We're going to talk about quite a topical question, I think, or topical for right now, start of the year, re-engaging with clients, prospects, people you've got some sort of relationship with, maybe in delivery or someone that's in your sales pipeline. Almost everyone's had a couple of weeks off, I think, I hope. I certainly have, and I hope you have as well. So kind of re-engaging, setting momentum up again and kind of getting things moving again, whether delivery or sales context is on a lot of people's minds, I think. But it can be a bit sticky, it can be a bit tricky, can feel a bit awkward. So we're going to talk about that for about 4.5 minutes, I think. So, Deri, what do you think? Any tips on this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's something that's been on my mind this week for sure. Not wanting to just crash into people's inboxes with a flurry of chaser emails on Monday morning when they've just been off for 2 weeks. And I think the philosophy that I've taken on it that I think is really important is to just maintain this understanding that like you want to be helping those people, whether it's your client or your prospect. You still want to be helping them. And it's really easy when you come into the year with like a set of targets and you want to rebuild momentum from projects that maybe haven't done very much over the Christmas period to think, I've got all this stuff that I need to do, all this stuff that I want to do. I want to get my project moving. I want to get these sales confirmed. I want to get the stuff that was like very close to being confirmed before Christmas. I want to get that moving. And all of the I in that thinking is a trap, in my view. And it's really important to just settle in and be patient enough to be able to say, I'm going to prioritize the things that are important over the things that are urgent, and I'm going to take my time to get into the year and get into people's inboxes in a way that's appropriate, that doesn't feel like I'm just chasing them day one, because nobody needs that. They're not going to appreciate that. And it's, in most cases, it doesn't matter if you wait a day or two to just check in with people, wish them a happy new year, try and get on a call. So that my philosophy is just to, as ever, like be in the client's shoes. What about you, Cole?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And I think thinking about what is important rather than urgent, I mean, what is clearly always important is your relationship with that person. So I think just not assuming anything. So it's always very easy to assume that, well, the timeframes and the priorities we talked about in December haven't changed. It's easy to make that assumption. They probably haven't changed for us as a service provider or consultant, but something will have changed for them, almost certainly, either them personally or their organizationally. So when you do get into contact, starting with questions and curiosity, as you're saying, is important, and then bridging at the right time to, okay, let's sort of pick up where we left off. I've also been chatting to a couple of people just this morning about email over phone call as well. I think it's actually your point. We've got to be in our client's shoes, and that includes how do they like to be corresponded with. And we probably, when we know people well, we settle into routines of either emailing or messaging or maybe phone calls. And it sort of feels fewer people prefer the phone call these days. But I think at this time of year is one of the best times to pick up the phone, even if that doesn't feel quite comfortable for you. And maybe it's not normally how you correspond with that individual. I think normally, straight after Christmas, you've got lots to talk about in terms of sort of genuine interest in them, like how their Christmas break was, how are they feeling, New Year's resolutions, new priorities for the year. So it is easier than normal, I think, at this time of year to have a fairly authentic, genuine conversation. So I guess just challenge yourself. Could you appropriately pick up the phone? And remember, these days, everyone's got caller ID these days. Certainly, if your number is in their phone, if they choose not to speak to you, if it's the wrong time, they won't pick up the phone, and that's okay. You can leave good voicemails. Saying Happy New Year is far better on a by voice or on a voicemail rather than an email anyway. Maybe wait the day, you might get a call back. And if not, when you do send that email, you can say, hey, look, I was just seeking to catch you just to say Happy New Year and see what was going on with you. And it's just a much more natural start to your email message. So it won't work for everyone, and it won't work in all circumstances, but we're sort of where we're now, like 4 or 5 days into the working year for a lot of people. I think now is a good time just to start thinking about picking up the phone. I completely agree with you. Not the first Monday back, which was perhaps Monday the 5th for a lot of people, but today, tomorrow morning, quite good times to start thinking about that and picking up the phone.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout. It's a great shout. And as you say, people can always screen your calls if they're busy or what have you. I think the other thing I would just add, conscious we've got 10 seconds left on our Live for Five, but the other thing I think is everybody's head is spinning a bit at this time of year. That everybody's thinking all the different projects they've got, all the different initiatives that are running, everything that they need to get their heads back into. And a lot of people I've spoken to this week are struggling to get their heads clear on like what is their set of priorities. So again, to be in their shoes, one of the things you can do really valuably is just give them a set of actions, like what needs to happen next, and just cut through that on your particular bit of work, reduce a bit of cognitive load for them, take that onto yourself and say, like, just letting you know, these are the next 3 things that are a critical path on this piece of work. Just so they don't have to be diving into documents and emails and reminding themselves of stuff. You're doing that work for them. But yeah, I fully agree on the picking up the phone and having the conversation, even if it's a 15-minute chat. If you can find 5-10 people that you'd like to reconnect with, and you just work down phoning them, and chances are one of them will pick up the phone, and you'll have a good chat and a good connection. And that's one of the joys of being a consultant, right?
And it's absolutely a win if you get one conversation, one callback out of 10. That's a good start. Look, we better end it there. It's a minute over as always. For more resources, the QR code there again, that'll take you through to some more resources about Honeycomb. But thanks for joining us again for Life for 5.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great year.